All right, guys, we're back for another episode. I know it's been a while, but there's a pretty major event that's happening in Bitcoin, which is the Bitcoin halving, happening in 12 hours. Um, yeah, Steve, what's going on in the world of Bitcoin?
Well, Bitcoin halving is a big deal for the network structurally and fundamentally. In terms of price, I don't think it's as important for the price as people think in the short term. It's not like the halving happens and then the price just pumps right away. Actually, the joke going around is actually very funny. Like people will be talking, yeah, on the subway and say, "Oh yeah, I heard Bitcoin is having a halving," and what that means is they are just going to cut the supplies of Bitcoin in half. And another person will go, "No, I heard it means they're going to cut the price in half, so it's going to be a discount on sales." That's what actually some of the normies think what the halving means.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting narrative that's that's being circulated.
So why don't I ask you what is the Bitcoin halving? Just explain that to us.
If I were to explain it in simple terms, basically the Bitcoin network has a kind of like an inflation rate, meaning that there are a certain amount of Bitcoin that are constantly created, and that number right now is about 6.25 Bitcoin per, I think, 10 minutes, or something like that. And this is done by the process of like Bitcoin mining. And what's happening in like 12 hours is that the protocol, which is the actual software that like Bitcoin kind of the protocol runs on, has a kind of mechanism that essentially cuts the issuance, which is currently at 6.25, to by half, which will be 3.125. So essentially, it's just
Yep.
we're just reducing the inflation rate.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. You nailed it. In simple terms, to normal English, it's just that we are basically decreasing the Bitcoin inflation from every 10 minutes, 6 Bitcoin, to every 10 minutes to 3 Bitcoins that we create. That's basically in a nutshell, that's what's happening. It is important as in it's for the network that fundamentally, we are doing slowing down the inflation rate of Bitcoin. But in terms of the price effect, it's not as big as it used to be now. I think I share a tweet with you, a video that Checkmate explained pretty good in terms of the impact of the halving now comparing to the volume of futures trading, spot trading. It's not comparable. It's very small. But you can play that video if you want.
I think probably this is the chart that I think will tell the story the best about whether we should or should not be caring too much about the halving in terms of its financial impact, right? Looking at how much is it going to impact markets and everything around it. So, what we've got shown here in the light orange or the yellow is futures trade volume. We've got spot trade volume down here in the darker orange. Over here is the ETF trade volume. So this is literally IBIT trading to and fro, not net flows, not on chain, purely actual IBIT shares trading on the stock exchange. And there's actually a fourth trace here, which is the amount of issuance to miners, all priced in USD. You might be able to see this tiny little squiggly red line down the bottom here. We're going to have to zoom in a bit to actually get into it. But you can see that in terms of our futures, we're talking about $58 billion. In terms of spot, we're talking about $9 billion. And in terms of ETF trade volume, 3.5, 4 billion. These are the kind of numbers that we're talking about. So let's just zoom in to our corner here, and we're going to try and see if we can find issuance, right? We're going in a little bit close. Let me get rid of futures trade volume because I think we're probably getting down below that level. We're getting right into spot. Now, note, we've gone down from 150 billion on the axis. We've gone down a good 10x. We still can't quite see the issuance. It's there, but not really. Let's keep going. Now we're down into single digit billions. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. In fact, we'll get rid of spot trade volume. So we've only got ETF trade volume. Let's keep going. All right. I mean, you can probably get the message that we're really zooming down here. Now we're in the hundreds of millions. Here we go. $65 million. of net issuance coming out from the miners. So if we kind of round all of that out, we've got our issuance down here about 70 million. Something like 50 times bigger than that is our ETF trade volume. Something like 110 times or 120 times bigger than issuance is our spot volume, and 830 times bigger than issuance is our futures trade volume. So in the grand scheme of things, our issuance is not the biggest part of this entire pie, not the biggest part of the mix. We're really talking about, at best, something like a 1% of what's going on in spot markets. Like we're talking about sub 1% volumes. So as a result, I would look at the equation and go, is the halving priced in? And I would say it just doesn't matter. The size of the halving, it's a narrative game more than that is in terms of size now. It is just very, very small. Now, that's not to say that 35 million in reduced sell side, it's a big number, right? But it's not a big number in the grand scheme of things. Now, it is persistent. It is sell side. It is, miners still have to recover their costs. Nevertheless, it is pretty small. So at the end of the day, is it priced in? Is it worth doing the calculation to work out whether it is priced in? That's kind of the angle that I would attack it from.
So it sounds like since the amount of Bitcoin that we're dealing with is like really small, the Bitcoin that we're like newly issuing, the price is not really that affected.
Yeah, no, at this point today, I think we have enough buying and selling every day that it overwhelms the amount of Bitcoin, new Bitcoins being created every day. So um, I think it's more important to look at how much people are trading Bitcoin every day and buying and selling Bitcoin every day, because those volume is a lot greater than the Bitcoin being created every day. It's not affecting the price that much, I don't think.
Gotcha. All right, man. Is there anything else?
I think I'll talk to you after the historic halving. That's all for today.
All right, man. We'll catch you later.
All right, bye.